Welcome back. Smyrna and Middletown was so good this year, we had to see a rematch.
That's right. Let's not forget that this is also a rematch of last year's 3A state championship game, a game that Smyrna came up just short in. And this time, the winner going back to the University of Delaware. So a lot on the line. Smyrna looking for revenge, and they got it and then some. Earthquake formation, direct snap, Ymir Knight finds daylight, and Smyrna out in front early. Brian Wright, the normal quarterback for the Eagles, not on the field, but Smyrna still firing on all cylinders. Joshua Guay out to Nolan Fretz for the touchdown. Knight, the most versatile player in the state, does it with his arm right here. There's linebacker Cole Moyer, puts a man on the ground, and Moyer is in for the touchdown. And at this point, the route is on. How about another dose of Ymir Knight? This is going to make it 32-0.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
That is insane. More from Knight, finds the hole. Watch him fly down the sidelines. A Middletown Cavalier tries to sweep his leg right here.
Sweep the leg.
Look at that, but he misses. Smyrna goes on to win this score and win this game in a final score, 48-0. We may have thought Smyrna would win, but no one saw this big of a blowout coming.
No, 48-0. This was a 21-14 game in September that Middletown won. Obviously, head coach Mike Judy was not there for that game. So Smyrna goes on to win 48-0. So Smyrna will participate in the 3A state championship game 2 Saturdays from today. 3:30 p.m. start time. The Eagles will play the winner of Dover and St. George's, which is at the bottom of your screen. But Smyrna will be the heavy favorites no matter who they face. Those top 2 scores are from earlier on the season. The Eagles defeated Dover 46-21, St. George's 42-6 back during the regular season. All right, so Smyrna is in the state title game. They get their revenge from last year's loss to Middletown. And Devin, I don't know what else you can say other than wow.
Yeah, they definitely had revenge on their mind all season, and they definitely played like it. I mean, as you mentioned earlier, they also lost to Middletown earlier in the season, the only team that beat them all year. So they got revenge for that game, too. So they had so much revenge on their mind that they couldn't contain themselves, and they had to drop 48 on them. But they still have to complete their mission, and they know that. But based on how they've been playing this season, I mean, they should be the heavy favorites into the championship game.
And they will be.
Yeah, the Eagles, they've been dominant all season. And now that they beat the team who beat them, they have the inside track, Brandon, to secure the 3A state championship.
Yeah, this has to be so sweet for Smyrna. That loss to Middletown last year was absolutely heartbreaking. The Eagles used that fire going into this season, and tonight was just absolute domination from the opening whistle. Eagles gaining 392 yards on offense, giving up just 90. Wow. Ymir Knight, his senior year, his final Harvest Bowl, 132 yards on the ground, 2 scores, plus that passing touchdown.
Yep.
Markel Hallman, 211 yards on the ground. I feel like we shouldn't be surprised by this, but I am absolutely shocked.
With their backup quarterback, too.
Yeah, exactly.
48-0. That's insane.
Smyrna is the top scoring offense, owns the #1 defense in 3A. No matter who they play, I don't think whoever they play will have much of a chance. If Smyrna plays like this 2 weeks from now, it might be 50-0 again. I asked Sean Green, the sports director up at WDEL, who called this game tonight. I asked him, what are your thoughts on Smyrna? He said, good luck. You're not stopping that. Yeah, that's all you need to know.
Yeah, their opponents are going to need it. Now, to the 2A, Lake Forest needed a perfect game to take down Wilmington Friends this afternoon. And the Spartans had the Quakers on upset alert early on. The pitch goes out to Kai Rivera. He barrels over a defender, fights off another tackler, and he is off running to the house. More from Spartans after this time at the goal line. The ground game was working early for Lake Forest. Aiden Young in for the score. That got Lake within 2 late in the second quarter.
Yeah, and Aiden Young, he's going to be a really good player for Lake Forest coming up. Just a sophomore, bruising back for the Spartans.
This is great experience for him. Now, Friends' dynamic offense was on full display, led by 6'5" senior quarterback Robbie Tattersall. He finds Jaden Willie all alone behind enemy lines. And look at the deep ball right here. Beautiful, right over the middle, hitting Jason Hughes in stride. Friends was just too much for the Spartans. Hats off to Lake Forest for a fantastic season, especially a turnaround from how they finished last year. They were 9-3 overall with the playoff victory, but Friends takes it to them 49-12. So that means the Henlopen is finished in the 2A division this season.
Now to the 1A, we begin with the champs. Laurel playing host to #5 seed Tatnall, and scoring did not come as easily for Laurel, at least in the first half. Tate Walls diving, putting up 6 on the board. Laurel chewed up 9 minutes to start the game on that first drive. Another long drive here and another Dogs touchdown. Kylie's Wilson this time. Laurel gets the ball back with a minute left in the half. Drive to the 10, final play of the half. Swing to Wilson in the flat, goes for the goal line. Wilson thinks he's in, but he is called just short. Head coach Joey Jones told his kids, get in the locker room. We're going to score again. And he was right. Evan Collins, the pick over the middle. That's going to lead to a beauty of a catch by Nair Farlow. Down the sidelines, gets a paw on it and hauls it in with one hand. Bulldogs go on to win this one 49-14, the final score.
Beautiful. Now, meanwhile, the Seaford Blue Jays, they see their season come to an end against St. Elizabeth. They fought very hard to the very end, only losing by 11. The Vikings took a two-touchdown lead, and Seaford battled back to one score down multiple times. But in the second half, it was Quasim Benson, one of the best backs in Delaware. He put up around 300 yards on the ground for 4 touchdowns for St. Elizabeth. Congrats to Seaford on on a great year, making it to the state semis, winning a playoff game. They were close, but they just weren't close enough. But again, congrats to the Blue Jays.
And now that sets up a rematch of last year's 1A championship bout. Laurel and St. Elizabeth. These two will kick it off at high noon on Saturday, December 10th. The top 2 seeds in the 1A, 11-1 St. Elizabeth, 12-0 Laurel. Can't wait to get that one underway. Tatnall made Laurel work for their scores in the first half of this one in the semifinals. Bulldogs, they did give up some big plays while they were leading in the second half. And 2 weeks from now, Laurel's going to face a player that they have not faced all season long. That's Quasim Benson, the running back for St. Elizabeth. But as long as Laurel doesn't shoot themselves in the foot, they should be able to go back-to-back against St. Elizabeth. I think there's still a gap between number 1 and number 2 in 1A.
And Laurel, just kind of like Smyrna as well, they haven't had that many tests this season, so I think this is definitely going to be the most difficult of the games that they're going to have to face. And I actually saw St. Elizabeth play when they played Indian River earlier this year. Benson is a monster.
He sure is.
He is a monster, as he showed.
Bulldogs are going to have their hands full
They're
with him.
definitely going to have their hands full because he had 3 touchdowns on the ground. That game had 4 touchdowns against Seaford. Today, he is a monster. So that's the person that the Bulldogs are going to have to game plan for. But if they can do that, as you mentioned, they can go back to back. But again, shouts out to Seaford for the game that they had today, almost beating St. Elizabeth, only losing by 11 points. That's a really good effort. But again, I have them winning that game too. But as you mentioned, I think it's going to be a dogfight, no pun intended. Now, we're going to step aside, but don't go anywhere. Meteorologist Ulysses Garcia is back with a look at your weekend forecast.
My name's Mike Judy, head coach at Smyrna High School, and you're watching Delmarva Sports Insider.